Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl coming at you with another pick a card reading. Today we are going to ask, what about you Captivates people? This was actually something that came to me so randomly during a meditation, so we're going to go ahead and get with it and see what comes out today. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey and a part of this ever-growing, incredible tribe. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Know that these are general readings. Please take what resonates and leave what does not. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the video, to the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links below in the description box. In order to do so, you may email me for information regarding a personal reading, and you can also follow me on over to Spotify on my podcast at Scatter Love Radio. And memberships are now live, so if you're interested in joining, click the join button and it will show you the 3 levels I have available as well as what comes with each level. So today you might notice that things are a little bit different. I'm just keeping it fresh, I guess. I honestly just wanted to set it up differently, and I got these adorable little yoga figures that are also unicorns, and it matches my car. I have this on my car, and so I got these little figurines and I love them, and I've been wanting to put them out on the reading, and today I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna bring them out because they're so freaking adorable and it's time to showcase them, right? Y'all know I'm obsessed with yoga. I can't help it. I've been doing it for 6 years, so it's a massive part of my life, and it has inspired me to heal in ways I never thought were possible. So with that, I don't think there's too much information to get into today. Let's just go ahead and hop into your prayer and get going with your reading. All right. I pray that you all are having a beautiful day, morning, night, evening, lunch hour, wherever you're at. All right, my beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come onto this reading and onto this channel. I ask that you bless them with the vitality of life. May prana run through them, and may they find the strength through this prana. And remember that they can always reconnect with that through a deep breath. That it is the breath that comes within and that we release that is evidence of our life. That is evidence of the blessing that is life. And through that, allowing us to experience what that is in every moment. May you always be with us, showing us the way to our truth. May you always follow us and keep us steady on our path. And may you hold us in the light that is and remind us just how amazing life can be when we trust in this process, and more importantly, believe and trust in ourselves. As these words are spoken onto this reading and onto this tribe, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Aseh. Thank you, my beloved source. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let me go ahead and get that set up over here. It's really cute because it's almost Easter while I'm recording this. And of course, you will see it after Easter happens, but they have an Easter egg hunt going on outside, and I'm watching them throw eggs everywhere. And so now I'm watching the kids come and search for the eggs, and it's cute. I'm so glad they do community things here for everybody. So it's not just kids, they do all kinds of stuff here, and it's just really good to see. So let me give these a shuffle real quick. We're going to use the pocket shaman oracles today, the mystical shaman oracle. If you're wondering what deck this is, they are shuffling so weird. feel like someone is, or a group of people here, just thinking like, oh yeah, I'm not that captivating at all. Like, no one really cares about me. I don't have much going on in my life. And yeah, after I'm talking about this, now they're smoothing out. So the thing is that the more that you believe this about yourself, the more that you'll find circumstances that make that true, right? So the goal here is to believe that you are captivating and to practice feeling that for yourself. It's not just about telling yourself that, it's about feeling that. Like, and if you're like, I don't know how to feel it for myself, then the key is to find and remember a time when you felt joy, excitement, or even yourself being captivated by something that was magnificent and beautiful. And yeah, and then flowing with that emotion and letting that be what you feel when you're telling yourself that you're magnificent, okay? And this is the name of the author on this deck. If you're wondering, this is the little book that comes with it. So it's not just a little white book, it's a big white book. So, perfect. For pile number 1 source, what mystical shaman oracle card will help us better understand what about pile 1 captivates people? What about pile number 1 captivates people? Thank you. And they're pocket cards, so they're little itty-bitty cards, but they're adorable. So for pile number 2 source, what mystical shaman oracle card will help us better understand what about pile number 2 captivates people? What about pile number 2 captivates people? All right, thank you. And for pile number 3 source, what mystical shaman oracle card will help us better understand what about pile 3 captivates people? What about pile number 3 captivates people? Source, 1 card. What about pile number 3 captivates people? Source. Pile number 3, your group of empaths. Yep. I knew it. Ooh, I felt it too. So I do feel like that message might have been from a majority of you that might choose pile number 3. So on the bottom, we do have the Rainmaker. Number 42, 6, balance. Seeing resolution, a solution, seeing that you're worthy of creating a life that has meaning and that you're worthy of that. And sometimes that's difficult, right, along the path, because it's easy for us to see what's good for others, but it's hard and difficult for us to see what is good for ourselves, right? And they're just saying here that you have an opportunity to make it rain for you and make a difference for yourself. So make sure this is in camera. Okay. For pile number 1, we do have this zebra jasper for you to choose from. Pile number 2, we have this grape agate. And pile number 3, we have this beautiful piece of tiger's eye. Okay. So pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever one you're drawn to, that should be the pile for you. With that being said, I'll see you over on your chosen pile. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful zebra jasper, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on what about you captivates people. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this channel. I am so honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. For those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience, and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Remember, the readings are general, so take what resonates and leave what does not. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you're interested in a personal reading or supporting the channel further, you'll find those links below in the description box in order to do so, to reach out to me for a personal reading. And you can also follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. And memberships are now live, so if you're interested in joining, there should be a join button down below next to where the subscribe button is. And when you click on that, it will show you the levels I have available as well as what comes with each level. Awesome. So with that being said, let's hop to it. We're going to find out what about you captivates people and see what comes through. So source for pile number 1. What about pile number 1 captivates people? What can you tell us about what pile number 1, how do they captivate people, source? What about pile number 1 captivates people? Oh, my nose is going crazy. Oy. 12th house, Mars and Scorpio. You're mysterious in a lot of different ways. And the way that you take action is also very mysterious. Like, people don't necessarily understand why you do the things that you do, but then suddenly you're doing them and they're like, oh my gosh, like, here's pile 1 changing how they've done everything, and yet somehow they make it work for them. Because most people have a hard enough time changing just generic things in their lives, and it seems like you very much embrace a lot of change. You know, it's like it's not necessarily comfortable, but it's not also not entirely uncomfortable for you. It's just something that you have learned to accept along the journey. And through that, you also seem very connected to a higher power. Like, you are capable of receiving messages and following intuition on those messages, and people feel like you are maybe doing something that you shouldn't be doing, but yet life is working out for you because of how you proceed forward in all that you do. And so there's this curiosity that's following that, saying like, well, you know, if it's working for pile number 1, then wouldn't it be safe to say that it might also work for me? But there's also a fear behind it that those that have maybe tried to copy you or to even just follow in your footsteps, it's not always about copying us. It's just trying to do similar things that you're doing so that they can produce similar results. And you might be like, well, that's copying, but it's not about like, I want to do exactly what pile 1 is doing. There's a lot of people here are like, let me just try it. Let me try what pile 1 is doing and see if I can do it too. Like, it's more of a curiosity thing. And I feel like then the fear kicks in, because it's like, especially if you have psychic gifts, sometimes a lot of people will close themselves off to those psychic gifts because of fear of the unknown. And so here we see that a lot of people are captivated by you because you're so observant and willing to open up to the unknown. Like, you're just ready to embrace whatever comes, and you're ready to go towards it. You're also very much a self-starter with Mars energy here. It's like Mars is a big bang. It's also the god of war. Like, you fight for what you believe in. And it's like people do not knock you off your path very easily, if at all. Like, maybe you suffered from that when you were younger, or when you were unconscious to your actions. Like, it might have been very easy for people to redirect your path. But for you, pile 1, you've come into this energy of being very sturdy and stable in who you are, and not worrying so much about the haters or the naysayers. And it's not even about them going and screwing themselves, right? That's not even what this is. It's like you show up in a place of calm, collected energy all the time, and you still show examples of compassion through your intuition to those that may have an issue with you, or to those that may see you as competition, or to those that have a lot of jealousy and malicious intent towards you. And so the ones that are just captivated by you, that are enthralled at what it is that you do, are just like, wow, like nothing ever unsettles pile number 1. And while that might not necessarily always be true, right? Because we are still human, and everybody has moments of unsettle, and that doesn't matter how much you grow on the journey, there will always be new things that come that remind us of old triggers in an entirely different way that will challenge us. Right? And you just appear so put together to the outside world that's why you have haters. That's why you have trolls. That's why you have people who are going to say certain things. But the ones that are just inspired by you are always seeing you come together exactly as you say you are. Like, I'm an embodiment of love and I come as love, or I'm an embodiment of spirituality and I still come as that spiritual being, or I'm an embodiment of someone who is very grounded and I come from a very grounded place. So you see, it does not have to be one thing. It's whatever it is that's most important to you to show up in life as. You show up as that, and you're seen like that to many people in the outside realm. And interestingly enough, that is why you might have people who, you know, try to take personal jabs at you. And I use quotations on that because it's never personal, right? No jabs at us are really personal, even if there was an intention to make it so. It's just them coming from a place where they see greatness within you that they could also find mirrored within themselves, but they don't know how to act towards that. Okay? Yeah, so we have the Popess and we have the Page of Wands here, showing that it's like new beginnings are very intuitive for you. Like, you just go towards it without question. You're just like, okay, I'm going to try this now and see what happens. And you make starting over seem easy, but I feel like the whole reason that you know that you have to do that is because you're not actually starting over. But to everyone else, it seems like starting over, and that's why they're captivated by you. So let's get some tarot out on it and see what the deeper meaning of that is. Source, can you please tell us, why are people, what about pile 1 captivates people? Why are they captivated by pile number 1? Why are people captivated by pile number 1, Source? What can you tell us? Thank you. What can you tell us about why people are captivated by pile number 1? I have the camera a lot closer to me today. Usually I have it further out there, but we're just going to go with it. So what about pile number 1 captivates people, Source? Whoa, don't burn the cards. Thank you. What about pile number 1 captivates people, Source? What can you tell us? Thank you. Oh, okay, we got 2 cards. They want to come out in the reverse. All right. And don't trip on the reverses. You know, we just want to, because even people can be captivated by you even when they're coming from a lower vibration or a negative, you know, vibration. We have the 3 of Swords. Yeah, they're being very clear. It's, you are someone who's very connected to divine energy. Right? And it doesn't matter what you believe in, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, gods, the goddesses, higher self, intuition, you know, whatever it is. Okay? Whatever name you put to it, source, spirit, it's all this omnipresence that is up there. And most people see you getting guidance when it's like you've spent a lot of time connecting with this power in a very unique way. And that's the main thing that captivates people, is because you're so connected. Like, you are someone who gets very intuitive insights, and you're able to help people solve situations that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to solve. Or you're able to help direct people away from maybe bad situations. Like, you may get prophetic visions and you tell people, like, don't do this or don't go there. Like, I can't really explain it, but I just know that it's not going to end well for you. And they listen to you and things seem to work out. But if they don't listen to you, then what it is that you saw happens. And they're like, how did you know that? And it's like, it's really hard to explain, even though we know it's not. But it's like, you know, when people find out you have gifts, all of a sudden they try to find out very direct questions they're asking, right? Like, okay, if you're psychic, then what can you tell me about me, like, right this second? And you're like, well, I could really dig into that, but you're not going to like what comes out. And they don't want to accept that as an answer, right? But if you say, oh, I have prophetic gifts where I am able to see, you know, things that happen in the future, then people are like, okay, so tell me what the lotto numbers are. I mean, they come out with these outrageous questions, right? Like, when I tell people I'm a psychic medium and they're like, who did I lose last year? And you're like, whoa, hold on. Like, I'm not even in that mindset to even tell you what's going on. Like, right now I have a message for you and I'm passing on this message, and that's the only thing that matters. But it's like, it's almost like if you can't prove to them what questions that they ask, like they have a problem believing it. And I feel like that's what captivates people, because they don't want to believe that you have these gifts until shit, excuse me, I don't usually curse, but it came out. Oh, it came out, it was so fast, until stuff hits the fan. And when it hits the fan, then they're like, oh my gosh, like pile one actually knew what was going on. And so the Three of Swords is talking about, it's divine intervention, right? This is intervention from divine sources, like source coming in and giving you assistance here. Let's see what your spread says. Oh, yeah. Why are they captivated by you? This is intriguing. It's interesting that I was talking about what I was talking about, because that's the thing. It's like, that's basically the energy here. It's like they have their own problems that they want solved because they're not clear on them. And so they're using the fact that you have a gift, or that you're like this with the divine. Oh, the divine's your best pal. So ask source what it is that I can do to solve this situation. Yeah, with the King of Swords here. And you're very strict about what you share with people. Like, it's like, look, if I have a message for you, it's one thing, but I'm not going to be sitting here trying to figure out what it is that you want to figure out based on a whim because you think that I can get you the answer right now. Like, even if I could, like, I'm not going to do that. That's not what the purpose of my gift is, right? But sometimes I feel like a lot of people have a hard time accepting that. And they feel like, you know, you're like, their judgment comes through, and you might be like, what does this have to do with people being captivated by you? Because the truth is they make very harsh judgments about you when they first meet you, when they first find out about you. Okay? And then it's like, you're so sturdy. Like I was saying earlier, like you're very structured and sturdy and supported in who you are. And I feel like that's because you've dealt with this for a huge portion of your life, is this harsh judgment based on your abilities, whether or not you had accepted them before or not. It was just things you knew were coming to fruition, and you would tell people like, hey, look, you know, I don't know how to explain this, but just don't do this. Or I know that this is going to happen next week. And everyone's like, yeah. And then that stuff happens. And they're like, how did you know? How did you know? And you're just like, I can't explain it. And that was before you could accept it. And now you've accepted it, and you've learned how to put yourself into an energy of truly believing and trusting yourself. And so it brings out a lot of emotions from a lot of people. This could even be family here with the Judgment in reverse. You know, it's talking about secrets that are revealed, things that you know that people shouldn't, like, they've never told anybody. And so that's the thing, why people are captivated by you. Even the people who are jealous and who don't want to see you do good, like, they can't help but be captivated by you, because you know things that they've never told anybody. You just know, right? And it's like, I thought this was going to be more focused on how you looked, but it's interesting. Now I understand why Source wanted to do this message. And I talked about that at the beginning. This was a message that I got channeled through a meditation. It was so loud, and I was like, okay, cool, like, I'll do that. Now I understand why, because there's like some clarity that's coming through here, showing that everyone else is coming from an unclear position. They're coming from this place of ego and being conceited and being, oh, it's all about me, this temptation to get what answers they want, and showing here that you are finding truth in what it is that you're saying, but it's coming from source energy, that beautiful power that resides within all of our hearts. Like, and it's like, you understand that if people actually took time to get connected with their internal well-being, that they too would be able to find out what kind of gifts they themselves could channel. But most people aren't willing to go that route because they're just happy living asleep to their own abilities and asleep to the awareness and the observation, the observant eye that lives within us, if you will. And there's a lot of people here who have judged you based on this and thinking that you're attracted to something that's dark and forbidden. And so there might have been a lot of exploitation when you were younger, or even recently. This is something like people saying, oh, you're possessed by the devil, like you're, you know, a black witch or something like that, you know, like even if not even a black witch, just calling you a witch and putting a negative connotation towards it because they don't understand what the practice of Wicca is. You know, a lot of people are very ignorant to things outside of what it is that they've been taught, and ignorance is bliss until you know, and you're coming in and you're questioning, you're making those beliefs get questioned a lot, and so they can't help but be captivated by you because you're like in the Bible, you're what they read about in the Bible. The prophecies were the only ones that had those gifts, and you know, or even Jesus himself was the one that only had those abilities in certain places. And it's like, and now here's an actual person that they've met that they've never met before in their lives, and so you make them question a lot of things that they've grown up on, and it's like they're trying to stick with this unhealthy belief that resides within their mind and their emotional ego, saying, I'm upset because pile one is showing me something that I would have been happy my whole life if it had just stayed behind closed doors and had never been brought to my attention. And this is why they're captivated by you. A lot of people here, you have a lot of people who appreciate your spirituality, a lot of people who appreciate the gifts that you bring, which we see here with the dice. And that very same thing elicits jealousy and negativity in a whole nother group. Like, it just kind of seems like you either are liked or you're hated. And I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. That's not what this is about, you know. And it's just this energy. It's like, that's really what it is. There's like no in between where people are like, oh, you know, pile one, yeah. You know, like no one's just in the middle here. It's like you're either really loved or not. And you're seeing that here with the tarot. The tarot is showing that this is why you're either extremely loved or you're not, but it all has to do with your ability to take action based on the intuitive notion, the psychic downloads that you receive from source. And the thing is that a lot of people have this really unpleasant realization when you give them your gift, right? Like when you give them your gift and they're like, oh my gosh, like, it really, like I was saying, it really happened. Like, you're like, don't go there. Like, it's not going to turn out well for you. And then they go and it doesn't turn out well for them. And everything that you said happens, or very almost identical circumstances, right? Because it might not be exactly how you're perceiving it, but it will be very close to that. And that's what scares them. And so it's like, maybe you predicted somebody slept with someone and you told them like, hey, you better take care of this, because if you don't, like, your partner's going to find out and things are going to go sideways. But if you tell your partner now, they're willing to work with it, and they're over there denying, like, I never slept with anybody, I didn't do that. But then they go home and they're like, holy crap, how did pile one know that? And then they can't help but be drawn to you, because now they're trying to figure out, how on earth did you even ever know that? And the thing is that Source is always protecting you here, especially with the Three of Swords coming out in your reading. Like, Source is always protecting you. You're never left alone. You're never left to defend yourself, even if it feels like that. Source is always protecting you, but Source is also using you as a channel, because there's certain messages that need to get out to certain people. And I do feel like you've run into people who are very accepting of your gift, and there's almost this energy of disbelief. Like, are you just pulling my leg? You know, like, are you for real? Do you really believe in me? Or are you just trying to get my guard down? And so you're always on guard a lot. And Source does want you to loosen up and just continue to believe in yourself. Even if you do run into people who are like this, and even if you run into people who are like this, just be yourself 100% of the time. You know, because it doesn't matter. There's always that saying, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? And that's exactly what they're saying here. Like, don't let other people convince you that what you have isn't special, because it is special. But what's special about it is that you're still humble by it. And so the people who fall in love with your gift and they see how humble and modest you are about your gift, how you're really just using it to help the collective, they're so captivated by you. And the people who see you still coming from that modest and humble place, who are jealous and upset that you have this gift, are captivated by you, because they're drawn to Source energy being channeled through you, which is always a reminder of home, right? Like, we have house 3, early learning, childhood relations, the rational mind and communication. So they're like trying to rationalize how you have these gifts, right? And sometimes when it comes to spiritual endeavors and spiritual situations, like there is no rationalization. There's no way to rationalize what's going on because you can't. Like, how do you explain where that came from other than source? And it's like, well, explain source or whatever you believe in, right? Explain that to me. And it's like, it's faith. And they're like, well, explain faith. And it's like, well, if you don't practice faith, faith is really hard to explain to people because it's the belief in the unknown. And that's what's so scary. You want something concrete, but how can I give you something concrete more than what I'm giving you right now to something that could potentially happen to you if you don't heed the warning? Well, then they choose not to heed the warning, and then it happens, and that's concrete proof, but they still don't want to believe. Look, the observer, yeah, Peregrine Falcon, observation, right? Very intuitive. Your third eye is like wide open here. And that's why people are captivated by you, because your third eye is always telling you what to do. Like, you get downloads from your ancestors, your guides, your angels, source. You know, it's like you're just constantly connected to those that are on your spiritual team, and they're guiding you. And it's not to say that you're perfect 100% of the time. That's not what it is. But you've gotten really good at listening to that and moving towards that which is good for you and right for you. And the missteps that we take along the way are the ones that help us strengthen that connection, because we recognize, okay, so now I really know what that feels like when I don't listen to it. And that's what's really captivating people, is because your continual practice of that third eye muscle, right? It technically is a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. But equally so, 22:22 on the clock, which has been popular time for this whole week in readings, which really means you're very connected to the divine. But for people who don't practice that or practice connecting with that, the same thing, use it or lose it, right? And it's not that it's something that we can't gain access to again. It's just it's something like, if you haven't been practicing listening to your intuition, like, it takes a while to understand what that means. They want you to remember just how strong you are. It's been a mountain to climb for you. This is something that you've had to overcome a lot of in your life, but it's been worth it for you. It's been worth the journey. It's been worth the effort that you've put into it. Yes, look, and that you're so magical, right? We have 66 here. Trust in the magic. And it's like Source is saying and reminding you here with the white raven spirit is that you have this clear communication to source energy, but you also bring a lot of solutions and resolutions, a lot of unconditional love. You're beginning to see yourself with eyes of unconditional love, which for many I feel was a very big challenge. Like, accepting yourself as you are because of how many judgments you've received. And that's also another thing, for that to keep coming through is another thing that captivates individuals, because maybe people who saw you in your illusion cycle of life where you didn't trust yourself or believe in your gifts are seeing you begin to trust and believe in yourself and your gifts. And that's something that's captivating them too, because they've seen you change. And everybody's always stuck on this own, people don't change, but you're a walking embodiment of people do change. They have an ability to. Yeah, look, we have 41 here with Nightingale Spirit. Love is all around. That's why I was saying, like, I didn't even know this was on the bottom, but 5, right? 4 + 1 is 5. We have that uncomfortable place of change. And we've been talking about that since the beginning. Like, change is something that you're just accepted. Like, it's whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable with it, it doesn't matter. It's just something that you've accepted as part of your journey. And that's why people are captivated by you, is because you really embrace the change. Like, you're not trying to fight it. You just go with the flow. We have vulnerability. Yeah, this is another reason, because you're learning to be more vulnerable about who you are. 24:42 on the clock. So mirroring others, right? And letting your vulnerabilities come through in those mirrorings of others. It's like, you know, I understand it's hard to believe. I understand that it's like we want to question it all to our, you know, figure it out to make it make sense to our emotional ego. But sometimes we just have to go on faith. And that's something that you're bringing. It's like, look, you can either trust me or not. But at the end of the day, I'm doing my part by giving you the message. And that's all I can do. And then you walk away and you fulfilled your role in this situation. So you're free from the burden, no matter how another person shows up. Now it's up to them and what they choose to do with that information, right? And I feel like maybe for a long time, you may have fought to help them really take heed to those warnings, because it was something that was so like urgent within you. And it's like, even after telling them, you still felt the pull, like, I need to help them, convince them that this is something they need to listen to. And that's not at all what Source was trying to put you in. Like, Source was just trying to help you trust the process of the gift. And, you know, when you're in a place of maybe a people pleaser or not trusting yourself of anything like that, it's like you come into this place of feeling, right? Being an empath, feeling how much that can weigh on a person emotionally. And through that, it was like, that's why you felt like it was your responsibility to help them. And now you are recognizing that your responsibility is delivering the message. You know, I'm the messenger. I can't make you do anything else. I cannot convince you to do anything you don't want to do, but I did my role. I played my part, and that has definitely brought you into being closer with Source as well, and feeling more free about offering these gifts. Yeah, and we have a leadership here with Elephant number 10. This is absolutely a part of your path, right? This is something that you're meant to do, and people are captivated by you because they're seeing you begin to lead others based on your gift. Like, you're not fighting against your authentic self anymore. Like, you're beginning to uncover the truth of who you are. And through uncovering the truth of who you are, you're getting surrounded by abundance. And abundance doesn't necessarily mean monetary gain. This is abundance of spirit, of life, vitality, truth, trust, and internal wisdom that's coming out, right? Where others are completely unclear of what to do. Like, you always know which steps to take. Like I'm saying, they're captivated by you because you're very put together. Yeah, house 8, which is also Scorpio energy, we have transformation, karma, facing fears, and legacies. So you're in the process of leaving a legacy here. And everyone, whether they're naysayers or they're supporters, like, everyone here knows that you're on the process, or in the position to leave a legacy. Okay, like, you're building a legacy, you're building an empire, in other words. And whether that's wealth or if that's just spiritual knowledge, whatever it is, like, you're in the position to leave behind on this realm. You are in a position to leave a humongous impact. And sometimes that really plays with people's emotional egos, because everybody wants to be known, everybody wants to be seen and heard, but nobody wants to put in the effort to actually get to that. And it's like, you're not necessarily in a place where you want to be seen or heard, but because you're being true to yourself, it's leading you into that position to help others. And that's what's so captivating about you. Let's take a look at your Shaman Oracle card. We have number 17 with Earth, and 17 is 8 in numerology. And this is like, what goes around comes around, the continuity of life, you know, like ups and downs. There's all this ins and outs, but also healing karmic patterns as well. And through healing those karmic patterns, you're beginning to really lean into yourself, right? And it's so interesting because the first line here is, Earth represents the gift of life. The symbol on this card refers to the body of the planet Earth and the human body and nature herself. We're reminded by this symbol that all creatures are born of the earth, and human beings are the stewards of life on this planet. It refers to what we make of it, our health, wealth, security, grounding, solidity, and stability. It reminds us that the world of form is a gift from spirit and needs to be treated with respect. When the earth symbol appears, it represents a need to focus on reverence and appreciation for the natural gifts that are coming to you now and always. The concrete world you inhabit is there by the grace of spirit, and you are a part of it. Much can be accomplished now when you are focused on compassionate, reverent service to the world. If you act with integrity, gratitude, and humility, you will find yourself more prosperous than you can imagine. Success is assured when Earth appears as an invitation. It says, do you feel ungrounded or easily thrown off your path lately? It is time to focus on what nurtures you, to open yourself to healing of Mother Earth and see the abundant world around you. Perhaps you've lost the ability to trust that your needs will be met and have fallen prey to poverty consciousness. Perhaps you've not been eating well or been overworked and stressed or forgotten to breathe in the beauty of your surroundings. When the spirit of Earth comes as your medicine, you're being reminded that when you practice self-care, take a walk in nature, and focus on the consciousness of abundance, miracles can and do happen. And miracles are natural for us. Like, that's a natural state of our being. We've just forgotten that along the way. And I do recommend here, if you hadn't, go into the beginning in the intro and listen to the prayer, because it's amazing how much this resonates with the prayer that I said on today's video. So truthfully, this is why people are captivated by you. There's like definitely two sides of the coin here, though. You have people who are absolutely inspired by you, and then others who are feeling more of that emotional ego being represented. And it's not anything that you're doing or not doing. It's just that your gifts are something that really make you shine and stand out. And that's a very beautiful thing. So, take time to appreciate yourself in that, okay? So if you feel like this is your reading, leave an earth emoji down below and say, I nurture my natural gifts and I allow them to be as they're meant to be. So you let Source know that you're not trying to force this. You're allowing all to happen to you as it's meant to. Leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my guides for coming together to give us this message. And until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of grape agate, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on what about you captivates people. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this channel. Truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. For those of you that are new, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And these are general readings, so please take what resonates, leave what does not. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the video down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, finding out how to get a personal reading from me, or even following me on over to my podcast at Scatter Love Radio on Spotify, you'll find all those links down below in the description box in order to do so. And if you're interested in becoming a member, there's a join button down below. When you click on that, it'll show you the 3 levels I have available, as well as the options that come with each level. So I do hope to see you there. If not, thank you so much for your continued support here. So let's hop to it and find out, what about you captivates people? So Source, what about pile number 2 captivates people? What can you tell us? What about pile number 2 captivates people? What would you like to share with us, Source? What about pile number 2 captivates people? Oh, okay, so we've got the 7th house, we've got Leo, and we've got Neptune. You are dateable, lovable, and sexable. Okay, like, people are captivated by your appearance and how you show up in relationships, how you show up in life, and that you're a bit of a mystery, right? That you're a bit of an addiction for them as well. Like, there's this, it's almost like they can't get enough of you. Like, there's an obsession that comes with it. There's this want to have more time with you. There's this want for many people to ask you out on a date and to have fun with you. You're very expressive. You are very open. You are very unique in the way that you approach life. And it's like you always just want to have a good time. Even if you could be a serious person, like most of the time when you're just out and about, like it's all about laughing and enjoying and just being very lighthearted. Like you're very spirited and very fun and charismatic and the center of attention. And I feel like you don't even try to be the center of attention, but it happens with people, with coworkers, with family, with friends. Everywhere you go, you just naturally are the center of attention, but you're also extremely mysterious, even though you've got the attention of everyone. Like you might feel like I'm an open book. Like I give everybody everything. If they ask me a question, I'm going to share the answer with them. I'm not going to keep it from them. But a lot of people just feel like they want more. Like, I need more information. You gave me, like, the first paragraph of the chapter, and I'm, like, left wanting more. And there's this, like, addiction that comes with that. Like they follow you on social media, or they follow you on, if you have a platform, or they're trying to find out more information about you from other people. Like, hey, do you know the scoop on pile number 2? Do you know the gossip on pile number 2? Like, what's going on? And it's like, no matter what people tell them, like, they still want to know more. And it's like, whether or not they believe the gossip or the scoop on you, it even has nothing to do with that. It's like, it's just unsatisfactory information. They just want more. I need more. I need more time with pile number 2, but I only get such a limited time with them. And part of that, I feel like, is actually because you're a bit of a loner. Like, you actually enjoy your peace and quiet and your solitude time. And it's like, when you go out, you give everything that you have when you go out, but when you come back, you give everything that you have to yourself. And that's what keeps you in balance here, is the ability to have this equal give and take, right? It's like, everybody wants to take energy from me, and so I have to find the balance in giving that back to myself. And it's maybe been really hard for you to connect with people on a deeper level. And it's like, while people want more of you, if you go out of your way to try to connect with them deeper, like, they get kind of freaked out or scared or overwhelmed by just how deep your well runs. And it's like, I'm not ready to dive to those depths yet. Like, I'm barely under the surface, and pile number 2 goes all the way down to the bottom of the ocean, and I don't know how I'm ever going to get there. And so it's like, so much wisdom and strength, and I keep hearing integrity. There's a lot of integrity here. Like, you're not like everyone else. Like, you don't get off by gossiping about people. You're not sharing information about others. It's not yours to share. And you don't even play in the gossip. Like, I do feel like if you hear someone call people names, you know, you're always like, why are you calling them those names? Like, is that something you tell them to their face? And they'll be like, oh, no, we don't say that to their face. Like, and you're going to be the person that says, why? Like, why are you saying that? Like, why are you calling that? And you might not even know that person, and you're still like, why are you saying that? And it makes them feel guilty. Like, there's this sense of guilt that comes with that, and shame that comes with that. But they're still very captivated by you, because the energy that you bring with you is so large and so bright. And it's like, they want to be more like you, but also it's like, they feel like you know their dirty laundry without them even doing anything. And it's like, whether you do or you don't, that's not something that really keeps you going. Like, you're not like, oh, I know so-and-so's dirty laundry. No, you're like, oh, okay, like, I know that about them, and that kind of determines whether or not I invite them into my life or not. And the only information that you use is for your own journey, and it's not even for personal gain. It's just to balance your life out. Like, I'm not going to be inviting in low vibrational people into my life. And it's like, maybe you have a very good discernment, or you have very good intuitive notions. And what it's saying here is that people can't get enough of you because you're the joy of the party, you're the life of the party. But equally so, it's like, they feel like you understand them on a soul level, and you see everything about them. And even though there's this great guilt and shame that comes with that, they still want to know you more. So we'll definitely get some more out from the tarot cards and see. And I am using my original deck, the Tarot Marseille, and we'll see what comes through. So it could be the good, it could be the bad, it could be the ugly, right? And I actually didn't say this on pile 1, but just remember, whatever does come out is someone else's perspective of you. Like, we're looking into other people's perspective. And so that is in no way, shape, or form the truth of who you are. However, I will try to connect with your energy and bring forth what I'm feeling when I'm connecting with you, okay? So source for pile number 2. What about pile number 2 captivates people? Yeah, the thing that keeps coming through the loudest here is you're very secretive. And I feel like you're kind of shaking your head like, no, I'm actually not. Like, I'm, you know, people know stuff about me, but it's not, it's almost like someone's not asking the right questions, you know, and it's like, they're saying, oh, I'm not getting the right answer. And you're like, well, then you're not asking the right question. Like, that's what it feels like, okay? So it's like, you're very open, you're an open book, you give people what they ask about, but it's like, what they want to know, they're not asking it in a way that actually leads you into giving them that information, okay? So source for pile number 2, what about pile number 2 captivates people? Yeah, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshining day. Hell yeah. I'm not meaning to curse. I've cursed twice on this reading. Oh my jeebus. Okay, what about pile number 2? Captivates people. So you may curse a lot. I feel like if you came from pile number 1 too, like, yeah, you guys might curse, and that might be why it came out, but it was so strong. Like, it just slipped, and I actually don't even curse really in regular life. Like, it's just, I'm not somebody who curses a whole lot. Like, every once in a while I will, but just, it's not something that I naturally do. So we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse on the bottom. Yeah, and the page. Ooh, yeah. So why are people captivated by you? Honestly, there's a lot of people that are very attracted to you. You would be a phenomenal trophy on the bedpost notches. Okay? It's like you are someone that they feel like if they got together with, that they could brag about, and like, oh my gosh, like I slept with pile number 2, I was with pile number 2, or I dated pile number 2. But there's no intention of building. Like, a lot of these people, they have no intention of building, and that's why they feel like you're so mysterious, because you're focused on the things that you're building, and you make that known. Like, you know, like if you have work, or if you work out, or if you have meditation, or if you have class, and that's what you're saying. Like, people are like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm working. And they're like, oh, okay. And so they'll text you back later, and they're like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm working out. And they're like, oh, okay. And they'll text you back later, and they're like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm meditating, actually. Or like, I'm about to go into meditation, or I just finished meditation. And it's like, every time they text you, what are you doing? Like, you never say nothing. Like, nothing is not a thing that comes out from you, because you're constantly working towards your journey. And so that's what captivates them. But there's a lot of people here that are very sexually immature that see you as a quick fix to a problem that they're not willing to look deeper into, right? But you're very sturdy and sound in the way that you take action towards yourself. Like, even if you are sexually active, like you also discern who's best for you in that area as well. Okay, that's what it feels like here with the Ace of Wands. But you're also someone who does take new beginnings very seriously. You take your time towards those new beginnings very seriously, and you don't let this energy get in the way of that. Some of you could be married or have a significant other, and it's just, a lot of people just feel like it's like, it feels like they're wasting your time. You could be a Leo or have Leo, I'm hearing, in the 10th house. Yeah, Leo in the 10th house, Leo and Neptune, and Leo in the 2nd house. Okay, this is a very specific that's coming through, but Leo energy very prevalent in this reading. And if not, that's all right. That's just for someone who needs to hear that. But you're just a very bright energy, and like I said, like you're always there giving your best, right? When you're out and about with others, like you give your best. You're showing up as 100% of who you are. But when you draw away, like you draw away, right? Like you're not that person that's, you know, one time they're telling me to use somebody called me this when I was much younger, like when I was still like 17 or 18, when I had first gotten a phone. And that was back when we had Nokias and Razors and the button text phones, right? I remember when the first touchscreen came out. And anyways, and I remember someone told me I was a text whore. Okay, and again, I'm not trying to curse. I'm just trying to say, like, that's what they called me. And that stuck with me. I was like, wow, what does that even mean? And they're like, you, as soon as your phone dings, like you text 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. And I feel like maybe you had been that way at a time in your life where it was like, as soon as your phone dinged, like you were looking at it. It didn't matter if it was a text message, an email, or whatever. You were answering it. You were attending to it right then when it dinged. And now, like, your phone is just always, it's either always on vibrate or silent. And it's just not on your mind. Like, it's just not like that, because you have other things that you're working on a lot. And that may not resonate with everyone, but I do feel like that for a majority of you, that's something that happens. And that's what captivates you, because when you go out and you're with people, your phone is never out. Like, your phone stays in your pocket, in your purse, in the car, maybe you even leave it at home, because it's like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna be present with who I'm going with. And you're usually the only one that doesn't bring the phone out. Like, you're the only one that doesn't touch the phone. Like, everyone that you're with will bring out the phone at least once during that time together, and everybody notices that you never bring out your phone, you know, because everybody's so attached to it, and they may think that they did good in not bringing it out, but they're subconsciously checking it all the time. But they absolutely are aware of you not checking your phone, not ever bringing your phone out during connections. So we have the King of Coins in the reverse, and we have the House of God in the reverse. Yeah. And again, this feels like that guilt. Like, it's like people who step on toes here with the King of Coins, right? Like, people who step on toes, they just... And it's interesting because the House of God can also refer to very sexual energy. Like, you have the phallus, right? And then you have the yoni, if you will, right? Coming inside, right? Like, I'm not trying to be dirty, I'm really not, but it's just showing, like, this card, all the majors have very deep meanings to them. There's very shallow meanings, and there's very intricate meanings that come with each card. And so when you really begin to study, you begin to understand, oh, like, this is so much more than just a moment of not wanting to deal with, a moment of not wanting to face the facts, right? So in the reverse, we have both of these, right? Like, not wanting to face the failure or the situation at hand, the fortune that has diminished, right? But this is also connected with Jupiter energy, which is connected with the sacral chakra and Pisces and Sagittarius on the original 7-planet astrological study. And so you have this energy of being disconnected from your ability to feel, and only being connected to this ability to ground. Not you. These are the people who are captivated by you, and they feel like if they had that type of connection with you, even though they're not showing up in a good frame of mind, they feel like they would feel better about themselves, or about the fact that you made them feel guilty, right? And again, it's nothing you did. It's not like you went out of your way and like, you should feel guilty about this. It's just that you are aware of things, and because of that, they feel guilty. That's all on them. That's all on them, right? That's not something that you can change. You're this very healing presence, right? You are someone you're able to connect with everyone. Emotionally, physically, you know, it's not something that you shy away from, where a lot of people do. A lot of people are like, oh, can't do that. It's too chaotic for me. It leaves me in a place of feeling like a failure, or I have too much vanity and pride happening in this situation for me. And it's like falling from something that's secure, and they're captivated by you because, again, it's like you're so bright and sunshiny and beautiful, and just you light up the room, but then you leave them feeling guilty because of their own actions, or their own thoughts about you, or their own thoughts about the situation. Like, it's like they feel like when you look in their eyes, you see to the depths of your soul. But like I said, like, you're not using that to get ahead for yourself. Like, that's not what you're doing. You're not using that as a malicious way. You're using that to determine whether or not this is someone who's meant to be in your life. And very often you find that these are not people who are vibing with you, and you don't even leave in a rude way. Like, you just are like, just kind of, the connection dissipates, and you allow it to fall apart. And it's like, that leaves them feeling guilty too, because like, oh, I should have texted pile 2, I should have called pile 2. But then they're thinking again with that idea, well, it's not like pile 2 ever checks their phone anyways. And it's like, but you still put in the effort when the effort is due, right? And there's a lot of people here who are captivated by that, because you're not like everyone else. You're not attached to that. Like, you're not attached to the attention, and you're not attached to the want to be seen. And it feels very dangerous here when they're connecting to you, because they're seeing so much of themselves that they don't like, and you're embodying the things that they want to be like, but they don't know how to do that. And there's too much pride here to ask. There's too much pride here to say, hey, so pile 2, how did you do that? So instead, they're just like obsessed with you. Right? And they just let that obsession get the best of them. And they realize that it's like there's a disregard for being present and for the good things that are here in this now moment, because they want to be like you. Like if you look at how in this setup, the king here is looking longingly at the sun, and you see this dissatisfaction. And you see with the tower how now they're still stuck in their heads. They're still stuck in this mindset. But you see, it's like, I'm holding my cards away from this situation. I don't want you to shine light on what it is that I feel like I identify with. And this is why they're really captivated by you. And they want to get to know you more. And there's a lot of people here who do want to have a physical connection with you. They want to have something like a relationship with you, which we see here with the 7th house. But they also recognize that you would ask them to show up in a way that many of them are not willing to or able to show up as. They're just not. They're not in a position to show up from a higher place. They're not in a position to show up from a higher love. They're only coming from a place of very closed-mindedness. We have Scorpio energy coming out. Intensity, exposing, purging, and renewing. Yeah, and you expose that. You expose that. You expose their chaos. You expose their ulterior motives. You expose every part about them. And again, it's not like you're out there like telling the world like, oh, so-and-so did this or so-and-so's like this. Like, you don't tell nobody. And it's like, that's what also shocks them and is drawing you in, because it's like you're just not going around and sharing that information, but you also use it to keep yourself protected. And it's almost like they're mad that you use it to keep yourself protected, but there's this admiration that comes with it. Like, well, if I had the same discernment that pile 2 had, I would do the same thing. Right? So it's like they can't help but be mad, but at the same time, they're like, I don't know why I'm mad, because I'd do it too, you know? Yeah, because you're so strong-willed. Many of you could identify with the divine feminine, especially with this card coming out here. And even if you don't, that's fine. It's just showing that you're in balance with your divine masculine, divine feminine, where you're able to take action where necessary and receive where necessary. And that's why people are captivated by you, because you're just always doing what's best for you. And it's something that we don't see that much of in the world, because everybody, it's either like the egomaniacs, right? The ones that are very selfish and self-centered. It's all about me, 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 me. Or you have the ones that are just people pleasers and it's all about everyone else, and then becoming resentful. And either way, you see this disconnect and this disharmony. But it's for you, it's like very much this self-care, very much taking care of your well-being and opening yourself up to this higher place of love within, and walking away from what doesn't serve you. And it's like just leaves people floored. Like they're like, how does pile 2 do it? Yeah, and this came out in pile 1 too, strength. Seeing how strong you are. Like you set very solid boundaries, right? And this is a very different energy than pile number 1. Pile number 1 was showing the distance that they've gone. But here for you, it's showing that you set very strong boundaries and you don't compromise your boundaries for anyone or for any reason. Why should you? Why should you settle for people when they're not willing to do the same for you, no matter where they're coming from, right? And you bring a lot of peace and harmony into everybody's lives, and everybody wants a part of that. They want a piece of that. That's why they're so captivated by you. Yeah, we have ancestors with generations. Like, you're very guided. You're very connected. And you could talk about your ancestors as well. Like, that could be a part of your practice, is your rituals, is to connect with your ancestors. And that could be something that you talk about. And, you know, you're like, oh, my ancestors did this. Or like, you know, I keep getting like, New Orleans energy for some reason. So maybe you have ancestors that go back or dated back to ancient New Orleans energy. And I don't know why that's coming through, but like old New Orleans. And that's something that's coming back. But I'm seeing like those graveyards right now that are very, very elaborate. You know, like when I went to Mexico for the first time and I saw a graveyard, I actually saw it during the Day of the Dead, like that whole week. And I had never seen anything like that in my whole life. And so maybe they're just showing me New Orleans and the graveyard that I saw in Mexico, because it's showing how we honor the dead, right? Like, and when you're from America, it's not really like that. Like, that's not really how we treat the dead. Like, we grieve and then it's like forgotten, even though they're not forgotten, but it's kind of like that energy. Like, we don't gather around their grave very often. Like, you have the ones that are very religious and going and visiting the graves of the ones that have passed. But then, and I'm not trying to be morbid or sad here, that's not what it is, but it's like, you may do something like that. Like, you're one of the people that goes and you take care of your family's graves, or you visit your family's graves like twice a month or every week, or like, it's like you have a ritual that you do that surrounds your ancestors, is what they're saying here. But you also talk about it, and you're not like that. I feel like me talking about it is not like making you feel uncomfortable at all, because it's something that you naturally do. You're like, yeah, I do that. Like, that's something I care about because that means something to me. Like, you know, or if you had family members that were cremated, like, you take care of their urns, you dust off their urns, and maybe once a week you sit down and have a conversation with the urns. And I know a lot of people think that that's so strange, but it's not. Like, that's how we connect with those, and we keep that memory alive, right? And that's what it feels like here with the Ancestors card. And I've never gotten that emotion before, but that's something that's coming through really strong right now. Yeah, the Watcher. And so you have a lot of people who just watch you, like, sneaking around, seeing you, like, watching you from online, watching you whenever you're around. Like, these are people who kind of like try to feel like to be hidden behind the scenes, and they're sneaking on you. Like, it's just sneaky energy, sneaky, right? And they don't want you to know that they're watching you, but I feel like you already know. Like, you're just like, whatever, but you don't let that keep you from just doing your day-to-day thing. Like, you just keep doing your thing. That's what I was saying. Like, every time somebody texts you, like, what are you doing? You never say nothing. Like, nothing is not a thing for you. Because if you're doing nothing, then you're not texting. You're taking care of yourself. If we have Cancer energy, nurture, comfort, and protection. Yeah, you're just a very comforting energy. And that's another reason why people are captivated by you, because it's like, you may have had a very rough background. Like, you may have experienced a lot, and especially with the Ancestors card, the energy that it gave me, like, you may have experienced a lot of death from an early age on, right? And again, I'm not trying to trigger anybody here. That's not what this is. It's just, there's this energy where it's like you've dealt with a lot of hardships and had to learn a lot of things early on. And then from that, you've kind of gained this understanding that, you know, death is just the next chapter. It's not something that's like the end all for you. It's like something that, even though it's sad, it's also something that can be very beautiful. And if you're like, I don't resonate with that at all, then this might not be your message. But I do feel like whoever this is, pile 2, like, you're someone who sees this whole journey as like the process of none of us make it out of here alive, right? Like, and it's like, that's not something that necessarily scares you. Like, it's something that's fascinating and almost thrilling in a way where it's like, you know, I want to learn as much as the afterlife as I can. Like, maybe you know, research Hades, or maybe you research the god of the underworld, and everybody's like, oh gosh, like, what is she bringing in here? No, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you maybe that, like, the Day of the Dead, or like the way that every other culture respects the dead and their ancestors, and that may be something that fascinates you, or that's something like death is not something, I feel like for you, death is not something that's scary. Like, it's not something that you're like, oh my gosh, like, and it may be that you have a lot of things that are death related, like you have a lot of skulls, or maybe you have tattoos of skulls, or like your car, you put like skull decorations on it and stuff. And or I'm seeing like the Day of the Dead, where they have their faces painted like skulls, you know, like I'm just seeing a lot of that. Symbols of death. Maybe you surround yourself with symbols of death because it's something that fascinates you more than something that scares you. And that's another reason why people are captivated by you. And we have number 52 with the scarab beetle. Magic works through you. And it's interesting because isn't it true that they put scarabs in the tombs? Like, I don't know where I learned that from, but I'm just thinking like that's something that I just heard, is like scarabs used to be in the tombs of the mummies and stuff like that. No, I'm not thinking about the movies or anything like that. That's not what I'm thinking of. I'm like read that somewhere, like there's something about leaving scarabs, like the golden scarabs, and something with as treasure with mummies. Like when they mummified someone, they would leave that with the pharaohs, or with the priests and the priestesses. Like they would leave golden scarabs with them to help them through I don't know. It's just they want me to say it, so I'm going to say it. I don't know. I don't know. But that's something that's coming through here. And then we have there's always enough with Koi Fish and 36. And just seeing that, like, you're always seen as someone who's very abundant, right? Very bright, very abundant. Someone who has a lot going for them. Someone who has a lot going on. And I feel like that's another thing that makes people feel guilty, is because it's like a lot of people have nothing going on, and it's like you never not have something going on. Like there's always something going on in your life, and it's not like you don't make time for others. You do. It's just that you've got stuff going on. So let's take a look at your card. Yeah, we have the Serpent, right? Number 46, which is 10, which is the completion and the abundance. And if I'm not mistaken, this is either a two-headed serpent or it's just two serpents on one another, because it does look like that's the end of a tail. But at first it did look like a two-headed serpent, right? But even snakes, like snakes can be seen as a symbol of death as well, right? Especially if they're really poisonous, they can be seen as a symbol of death. So we have 46. Let me go there. If I can hold this little book here. It says the serpent is the life force of Mother Earth. The coiled serpent of the Kundalini brings passion, healing, and renewal. She offers us the fruit of the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden and reminds us to shed the past the way she sheds her tired old skin. Serpent comes to you to offer the forbidden fruit that will set your passion and creativity free. The serpent power of the Kundalini is stirring within your chakras, gently asking you to embrace its mystery. Shed the old skin that you have been so attached to. Welcome the vulnerable pink underbelly that will bring you a fresh experience of your life. Your passion and sexuality are awakening. Yeah, so there's definitely like that sexual energy coming through again. And this can be scary. And that idea that you're very scary to people because like you just find so many things that many people find scary, like you just don't. Like you embrace it. It's a part of your journey. Trust the wisdom of the serpent to transform your sensual energies into beautiful original manifestations. It says, when you shed the past gracefully, life will not strip it away with great drama. Indeed, that is something you want to avoid. Do not use your energies to seduce others or allow yourself to be seduced, even by your own ideas. That's incredible because it's what it feels like. There's a lot of people here who want to seduce you, have that very, right, like that very immature sexual connection with you, and you don't allow them to seduce you. And that's why people are captivated by you, because you don't, like, no matter what someone tells you, words are empty if they're not followed by actions. It's 13:31 on the clock. And so that's what I feel here for you, pile number 2. This is why people are captivated by you. This is why they're enthralled with you and enamored by you, okay? So if you feel like this is your reading, leave a little DNA helix down below and say, I trust in the process and let my ancestors guide me to that which is rightfully mine. Leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second to thank your guide, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my guides for coming together to give us this amazing message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of tiger's eye, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on what about you captivates people. First thing, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this channel. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. For those of you new, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience, and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further or getting a personal reading from me or following me on over to my podcast at Scatter Love Radio, you'll find all those links necessary below in the description box. And also, memberships are now live, so if you're interested in joining, there's a join button down below. When you click on that, it'll show you the levels I have available as well as what comes with each level. Please remember, these are general readings, so take what resonates, leave what does not, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video below. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out What about pile number 3 captivates people, source? What messages can you share with us? How can you help us further understand? What about pile number 3 captivates people? What would you like to say here today? What about pile number 3 captivates people? Okay, so we've got the 7th house, Venus energy, and Leo. Okay, so you could have come from one of the other piles. And as always, if you've watched all 3 piles, leave a purple heart down below. It's the Purple Heart Gang. I know who you are, and I just really do appreciate you. Just say I made it. I'll know as well. So thank you so much for those of you that choose to spend the entire reading with me. What I'm seeing here is what people are captivated by is how feminine you are. And even if you identify with the divine masculine, this is just your ability to be able to connect with people on a very deep level. You are magnetic, you are very attractive, you are someone who is very luxurious. Like, even if you wear plain clothes, like, you're just seen as something that's very luxurious, like a commodity, right? Like, you're just a hot commodity. And they're captivated by you because you are very sure of yourself and confident in yourself, no matter where you go or who you connect with. It's like people don't make you nervous. The outside world doesn't make you nervous. Like, you don't seem to question who you are, no matter what people say to you. You are very fair and balanced and harmonious, and the thing that's coming through, though, is extremely attractive. It's almost like people see you as this beautiful Greek god or goddess, okay? And it's almost like you don't actually know just how beautiful you really are, how handsome you really are, how incredible you look. And you're just so confident. You're not worried about how you look to other people either. And so it's like you just go out and you be yourself, and that's what really captivates individuals about you. You're very fun. You're very outgoing, charming, wise. You have a lot of wisdom that you do share. You're also very abundant. Like, you have a lot of vitality about you, and you are someone who experiences all aspects of life. Like, you walk around with the eyes of a child. Like, everything you experience leaves you in wonder and awe. It's just, you're very thankful for so much, and it shows. And you're very open to new experiences, and you never let any situation get the better of you. Like, you show up as your best self in that moment. Even if today is only 50% of yesterday, like, you still show up as your best self in that moment. And because of that, there's this air of confidence about you that never falters. Like, you're always very sure of what to do, where to go, and what it is that you're doing. And you're the same whether you're talking with someone you've known for a long time, or if you're talking to someone new, or even if you're talking to someone that happened to betray you. Like, you're the same. Like, you don't change. You might be like, why would I talk to someone who betrayed me? But it's like, there might be circumstances that come up where you have to interact with people who have stabbed you behind the back, and people are watching you interact with people they know that have stabbed you behind the back or that have done dirty things to you, and you're still the same. Like, you don't change. You're still very graceful, and you bring this beautiful, peaceful, harmonious energy to every interaction that you have. The good and the bad. Like, you're just very even keel. Like, everything is very, very even with you. It's very level-headed. And they're very captivated by that. So it's like you may deal with a lot of people who are untrustworthy. I'm getting law enforcement came through really loudly right now, or interrogation of some sorts, or like social worker also. So like you may have to ask people some very personal questions that they feel like you're trying to be personal towards them, but it's not. It's like it feels like it's a part of your job. But you also, in a way, are able to explain that most of the time, because we can't win them all, right? But most of the time, you're able to explain yourself or explain the situation in a way that shows them, like, oh, okay, like, I have to do this in order to move forward. But you never lose your cool. Like, even when people lash out at you because of something that you have to do. Like, it feels like there's an obligation that you have where you have to ask very personal questions or get very sensitive information. That is very weird that that's coming through, but it's very strong. Okay, like, it's very strong. Like, maybe you work in the medical industry. Like, it's like things that, like, people are very uncomfortable sharing. And, you know, that can be anything. That could be psychologically, emotionally, you know, even physically. Like, it could be anything along those lines. So you could be a psychologist. You could be a doctor of some sorts, a nurse. You could be a medical billing and coding specialist. You could be, I don't know, a receptionist even, that has to deal with some very, very pertinent information is what's coming through here. But I did hear law enforcement as well. So, you know, it seems very general, but that's just what's coming in. But it's interesting because you come with such a grace. Like, even if you're a divine masculine, like, the way that you show up is so receptive. Like, people are receptive to your energy. Let's get some tarot on it. So, Source, what about pile number 3 captivates people? And I feel like even, like, your coworkers are always amazed at how you never seem to take things personal. Like, even if it seems like it's meant to be personal, like, you're just kind of like, no, like, that's what we deal with. Like, why am I going to take it personal when I see the same pattern across the board? Like, there's no sense in complaining about it. The only thing that I can do is show up as a better version of myself each day because I'm learning experience from it. That's what it feels like here. And so a lot of people are captivated by that. So, Source, what about pile number 3 captivates people? One more, they said. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it does feel like something you do, it appears to be nosy, but it's not. It's like, it feels like an obligation. What about pile number 3 captivates people, Source? Okay, what about pile number 3 captivates people? Okay, thank you. No. What about pile number 3 captivates people, Source? Thank you. What about pile number 3 captivates people? Okay, they want it to go that way. Let me straighten these out. Okay, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Yeah. Yeah, we have the King of Cups and the upright. I'm not surprised. Emotionally intelligent. Like, you just even kill. Like, you just don't let things get to you. You don't take things personally. You just show up in a very calm manner. And your wisdom when it comes to your own emotional well-being actually sets the tone for how things are going. So it's like, even when people come in and, like, there could be someone who asks the exact same questions as you or has to do the exact same job as you, but because they're not coming from a place of not taking things personal, they're not able to get the same results. So it's almost like you're either a specialist or you do something that, like, not very many people are capable of doing the same way you do. It's something like that. Yeah, it's like a lot of people, you may be a marriage counselor. Oh, that's coming in. That's strong. But you deal with a lot of people who come from a very broken place, like a broken home type energy, or where people just take so much so personally. And you're over here saying, it's like, you know, I get it. It's like you want to carry the responsibilities of everyone else, but we can't do that. That's not what the position is that we have, or that's not what it's meant to be in life. So you could very well be a Pisces, a Sagittarius, Cancer, Scorpio energies coming through here. You could have Leo, Libra, and Taurus very highly aspect in your chart. I'm hearing Cancer Moon and Cancer in the 4th house in its home. And I'm also hearing Scorpio in the 4th house, okay? But it does feel like you're just able to see things from an entirely different perspective. So it's like where people take things personal. That's what keeps coming through. It's like people are taking things personal and you just don't. Like, it just doesn't bother you like that. Like you're just like, that's not how it's supposed to bother any of us, but so many people can't see it that way. Yeah, we have the 2 of Swords in the upright. Okay. We have the Hangman in the reverse. Yeah, and the Queen of Wands in the reverse. So again, you're being portrayed as the King of Cups here, okay? Why people are captivated by you, because again, this is exactly what I was saying. So we have Pisces, Aries, and Libra energy out here, but it's like people coming to you with a very twisted sense of the way they see life, okay? Like the way they see everything. It's this very twisted sense of like, I have authority over you, like I have authority over my own life, and you don't have a right to ask me these questions. You don't have a right to pry into my life in this way. And yet, if you see, it's like they're seeing it from a past situation. The reason that they are in this energy is because of something that's happened to them in the past. And you come from a place of saying like, I get it. I get that you don't want to share this, but understanding that in order for us to move forward, we have to understand this about you. And you explain it in a very logical manner, but you also explain it in a way that touches their emotional well-being, where they trust you and they're like, okay, like I understand where pile number 3 is coming from. I understand that I have to share with them something about myself that I otherwise wouldn't share. And I realize that they're trying to do the best that they can for me. They're not trying to come from a place of maliciousness or of using it against me. So whatever it is that you do, feels like you deal with people who vulnerability feels like a weakness for them. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. So vulnerability feels like a weakness to them, and you help them walk through the process of dealing with that. They have an issue with authority figures already, and you're in a position of authority. And that's why we have the Queen of Wands here. It's showing like these are people that you're dealing with consistently that have an issue with the position that you hold. So whether you're a manager, again, whether you're in law enforcement, interrogations, whether you're in some form of I just lost what I was gonna say. Social services. I don't know why I just went blank, but yeah, it's like social services is coming through. It's like you hold some sort of power over life in their lives, and that scares them. And it's like you're trying to help show them like, if you're open and honest with me, then we can find the best possible way to move forward with the Two of Swords here. Like we can find the best path for you forward. But the only way to do that is if you're completely honest with me. You could be a lawyer. Okay, like that could be something here, but it's like you definitely have access to very sensitive information that people feel like they don't have to share. But the only way that they can do anything moving forward is to share it with you. And so with the Venus energy here, it's like people they trust you because you come at them in a very nurturing way, in a very receptive way, and it's very graceful. And because of that, they're willing to share with you. They're willing to gift you parts of their lives that they otherwise wouldn't share with anybody. Like it's something that like, I'm going to take that to my grave. And for you, they're like, oh, hey, pile 3. So I guess I got to share this with you, even though I'm scared to death that it's going to go terribly for me. But they quickly realize that you're not out to get them like that you're coming from a very centered place within yourself emotionally. And that's truly why people are captivated by you. They really can't help but be drawn to you because you're very emotionally secure, and you are teaching others to become emotionally secure. And whether that's in your job or whether that's in whatever it is that you do in your day-to-day life, like you're just able to come from a place of true internal wisdom and acknowledge that if you take something personal, like instead of taking it out on this situation or out on those that are in your life, like you are able to draw away and understand that that's something within you to heal, to face, to let go, to release. And in doing so, you're able to help others do the same. And so it's very profound. Like this is a very strong energy coming through here. Okay. And maybe you don't work in any types of those jobs, but it's just that you bring that to your everyday life so much that people just like, you might find people just sharing things with you, and it's because you're a very trustworthy individual, and that's why people are captivated by you. They feel like they can trust you with their deepest, darkest secrets, and they know that like your energy shows them that you're not going to just go and tell everybody. And they appreciate that. Like that's something they truly appreciate. That's something that they really feel safe in doing, right? It's like you're also, I feel like you use your charm to also to help with that, right? We have fixed energy flipping over with Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Stability, persistence, loyalty, and dependability. Yeah. You're just a very loyal person. Like, you live in your loyalty and integrity, right? Like, you're not over here trying to be someone that you're not. You're just a very honest person who comes from a place of integrity. And you know, when we look at integrity, it's doing the right thing even when people aren't looking. And you embody that so much all the time that that's what makes you such a trustworthy source. Like, you're just always doing your best. Like I said, even if today is only 50% of yesterday, like, you're still doing your best. You still show up in honesty, integrity, and honor. Like, you're not trying to be someone you're not, okay? And we have Capricorn here with ambition, realism, and methodical steps. Yeah, sometimes it takes time. There are times when you're able to get to the thick of the problem quickly, and there are other times when it takes a long time to get to where you're going. And you're not afraid of the work. You know, Capricorns are very ambitious, but they're very much... They rely on the integrity of their work, right? Like, that's something that they always do. And like, you think about Virgos are very perfectionist oriented, right? Like, especially when they're in their shadow, like, being a perfectionist can really set you off and trigger you in a lot of different things because things don't turn out exactly as you picture them. But with a Capricorn is all about the integrity of my work. Like, I'm going to show up and give you what I have today, no matter what. And they do. And they're not afraid of hard work. And that's exactly what you're showing here. You're not afraid of hard work, even if the hard work has to do with internal work. And that's why people trust you. And that's why they're so captivated by you, because you embody exactly what you're asking others to do. Like, I'm asking you to be vulnerable, and you embody being vulnerable, right? Like, you embody that. You're asking others to hold a sense of honor in the way that they conduct their business or in the way that they approach life. And you are leading by example, is what I'm trying to say here. It's like you're leading by example, and that helps set so many people at ease. Like, okay, someone's not telling me what to do, they're showing me what to do. And that's what you do, pile 3. Moderation, number 32. Yeah, and we have this, it's like everything in moderation, right? That's what I was saying, slow, methodical steps. You take one step at a time. Like, you're not going to step in and tell someone all these things all at once and expect them to be perfect. Like, you're going to give them one step and like, try this and see how that treats you. And if that doesn't work, okay, try this and see how that works you. Like, it's one foot in front of the other. Like, it's okay if it doesn't work for you. Not everything works for everyone. But do you see, this is like giving me guru vibes. It's like, that's exactly how people see you, as like a guru or a leader or someone that they can trust and trust their deepest, darkest secrets with. Keeps coming through. Like, my deepest, darkest secrets I can trust with pile number 3. And I know pile 3 is not gonna burn me. Like, I know they're not. You've kept yourself in such a state of truth that's why people trust you. And I feel like for you, pile 3, it's more than just being captivated by you. Like, people are captivated by you, but it's more than that. Like, the captivation comes from the trust and the authenticity that they feel coming from you. That's what their captivation is coming from. You're such an honest person. Like, and it's more than just about being blunt honest. It's more than just about being abrasive. This is like, you're honest with the compassion and an intuitive knowing. Like, it's like, look, I get it. I understand it's hard. I know you don't want to share this information. I know you don't want to open this part of yourself up. But here, it's like, if we don't, then understand that we can only do these amounts of things if you don't. But if you do, you open yourself up to all these other possibilities. And so it's like, you just paint it in a way. It's like, it's okay. If you don't want to open up to me, that's fine. But just understanding that limits our capacity to do great things together. And so, and it's like, you always give the choice. And just because you allow them the choice, or you allow them the freedom to choose themselves, it feels like most people choose to share with you those deeper internal feelings, or those the truth of those questions that you have to ask, or whatever it is. Yeah, the promise, new moon promise. And that's the thing, like when you give your word, like, you know, what is it from Scarface? It's like, I got two things in this world. I got my word and my balls, and I don't break them for nobody. Like, that's what it feels like. Like you give your word and you don't break it. Like you keep your promise. You keep your promise. And that's something that unfortunately is rare. It's unfortunate that that's something that's rare in the world, right? Like, there's a lot of people who give a lot of empty promises, and you're not one of them, pile 3, and that's why people are captivated by you. Even if the promise is teeny tiny, like maybe you promised, oh, you know what? I'll bring a coffee for you next week. Don't worry, I'll get it. And you never mention it again. And you've like, the day comes and Monday comes of the next week, and you walk in and you give whoever it is that you promised a coffee, like, and you never mention it, like you never brought it up again. And they may have been like, they may have even forgot about it, because the promise was just, promises aren't like that for people. Like, they just like, oh, okay, yeah, someone promised. But it's like people are captivated by the fact that when you make a promise, it's a real promise, and they're just like, whoa, like that exists still? Like, that's a thing, you know? What is it? Do lovers really fall in love to stay? Stand beside each other, come what may. People really, what is it? Whoa, whoa, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. Do people really make a promise that it's something that they'd say, or what is it? They'd really keep their promises. It's not just something that they'd say and then forget. There's a line in that song that says that, and that was coming through. It's like you live in an old, like an old way of life, but it's not even really an old way of life, because it's so different from the way that others live. It's just you're very true to yourself, and that shows. We have number 10 here with the abundant universe will provide, and that's, people see you as abundant, right? We saw that with the Venus energy coming in here. They see you as a very abundant person. Yeah, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. It's by the Judds. It's a country song. You should check that out. Check out the lyrics, because that's what I'm talking about. There's a line in there. Did people really keep their promises? It wasn't just something that they'd say and then forget, right? Yeah. Yeah, release. Yeah, you help people release their fears. I feel like that's the biggest thing here. You help them release their fears by just being a loyal, dependable person. Your stability in a life that's unstable, like people are just falling apart every which way, and there's no stability here. There's no structure, and you come up as a structure, stable individual, and that allows people to relax into that energy, and so therefore they're enthralled by you. Yeah, innocence, childhood innocence. What is it? You remind people of a different time, you know? Like kids are always honest. You know, you think about a child will tell you the truth. They're not thinking about if that's going to hurt your feelings. You know, like kids are very honest, but it's an innocent honest. Like, it's like if you ask them, does this look good? And they say, no, that doesn't look good at all. Like, they're not doing it for the sake of hurting your feelings. Most of the time kids are saying it because they're answering the question honestly, right? They're like, oh, okay, you want honesty, you know? And there's like this joke, you know, like, how do you fit an elephant into the refrigerator? And if you've ever heard this, okay, it's you open the door and you put the elephant in there. And they ask the same question to kids, right? And most kids always get this right. Like, it's something that they get right more than adults do. They say, well, how do you fit a giraffe in a giraffe in the refrigerator? And adults will answer, well, you open the fridge and you put the elephant in. And kids usually answer the correct answer, which is no. You open up the fridge, you take the elephant out, and then you put the giraffe inside. Right? Like, they just see the world from a very different way than most adults, because we're trying to overcomplicate things, and you don't. Like, you're not trying to overcomplicate things. Like, you're trying to simplify things, and it's like even very complex situations you bring with this very childlike wonder Did I not say that earlier on your reading? I believe I said that you show up with eyes of a child, like everything is very wonderful and beautiful to you, and you have this sense of awe. I feel like I said that on your reading. I know I said that today. I actually don't remember if I said that on your reading, but I feel like, again, this is just that confirmation. That's exactly how you show up. It's just very innocent energy. And it's like, I'm not here to make you hurt. I'm not here to prove you right. I'm not even here to prove you wrong. I'm here to do what is best for myself and also hope to inspire you to do what you feel is best for you. And that's why people are so captivated by you. Yeah, I'm not surprised this came out. We have time to heal with number 55. You're just a very healing energy. Very healing. You help people find justice in situations that they otherwise would not have let go of. Like they would have held on to and let it fester until it turned into something really difficult for them. And you help people heal from those hardships and release them and come back to a state of innocence within, right? So let's take a look at your card and we'll read this from the book. We have number 5. So we have 555 here, right? So the 5 is a very powerful number for you. And 5 is a very uncomfortable place of change. It's like you do bring that. But we also have the heart here, the beloved, the hands holding the heart. Like you're a very open-hearted person, very innocent, very real, very vulnerable. You wear your heart on your sleeve. Like you're regardless, even if people attack you, like you don't ever take it personal. Like you're just kind of like, look, I get where you're coming from. I understand it's hard and I'm not here to judge you based on that. Even if they are trying to judge you, they're trying to elicit a reaction from you. You never do what they want you to do. Like you always just show up from this place of innocence. And it's like, it's intelligent innocence, if you understand what I'm saying here. It's you're coming from a place of knowing that people are trying to elicit a reaction from you, and you also recognize that giving them what they want isn't helping them, nor is it helping yourself. And so you come from this very calm, cool, collected place. So let's see what the beloved says here. Now I got that song stuck in my head. It's from when I was a little kid when that came out. It says the beloved is the recognition of the spirit in another. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so fitting to your reading. The moving towards spirit through the other. It is when the divine appears to us in the form of our child, our parent, our friend, and we experience being in love. As we grow, we start to recognize the beloved in everyone, not confusing their personality with their divine nature. Accept the invitation to learn through the path of love. Expand your being through union with another. When you recognize the beloved in another, you call forth their highest and purest nature. Follow the path of love. Be careful with romantic love, the kind of love you fall in and out of. Own all the projections that you've placed upon the person you are dreaming of, and remember that they are only mirroring back your deepest longings rather than revealing their true selves. If you fail to notice this, be prepared to walk through the fire of strong emotions once again. Yeah, so I feel like, and it's interesting because yours is actually one of the shortest ones in here. You see the divine in everyone. And that's what it is. It's like you help others release that we're different, and instead you help bring them into this place and this state of understanding that we're all here together, experiencing this life together. And from a very unique way, you also allow others, even if they're trying to attack you, like you bring them into this place of like recognizing that, wow, I was just projecting my own insecurities out there on pile number 3. And it's a very profound experience for them. And so this is what, this was probably the best reading I've done all week. Like I'm not impartial to the others. Like I really love everything that I do, but this was just such a profound reading because this energy was so strong here. So this is what I see for you, pile number 3. If you feel like this is your reading, what should we have? Leave a snake emoji down below and say, I've healed my heart so that I can allow myself to heal others just by being me. Leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my guides for coming together to give us this message. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.